watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Chinese prisoners freed from Guantanamo 4 years after judge demanded release. And Clinton pushes harsher sanctions against Syria. And UN bans slams lack of progress in Syria. And shooter George Zimmerman to appear in bond hearing. And KFC and Taco Bell owner latest to drop Alec. And cop who called shooting victim Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. a racial slur ID'd accused in prior case. And federal regulators okay domestic drone use for DHS, police, military, and private firms. And FBI seizes Rise Up email network server. And a study says no evidence death penalty deters future violent crimes. And Vermont backs anti-Citizen United Amendment. And in a study, 1 of 4 Americans under 65 have no health insurance last year. And EU agrees to share passenger info with Homeland Security. Pro-democracy protesters continue in Bahrain ahead of auto race. And Democrats rally behind Keystone XL oil pipeline. And Murdoch phone hacking scandal grows in the U.S. And BP oil spill's second anniversary, toxic legacy remains in mutated sea life. And Levin Helm, musician in the band, dead at 71. GVTV News would like to say the views expressed in our news broadcast do not necessarily reflect the views of NCTV Digital Media Center. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, 2 Chinese Muslim prisoners have been freed from Guantanamo Bay after close to a decade behind bars without charge. Prisoners were among a group of ethnic Uyghurs ordered immediately released in 2008 after a judge ruled them not enemy combatants. But they're languished in prison because both the Bush and Obama administration refused to resettle them in the United States, and plans for repatriation in other countries fell through. At least 3 Uyghurs still remain in Guantanamo despite the order for their release. 2 freed prisoners will be resettled in El Salvador. The release marks the first prison transfer out of Guantanamo in more than a year. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has urged the UN Security Council to adopt an arms embargo and tough new sanctions against Syria in order to force President Bashar al-Assad's government to comply with the UN peace plan. Clinton also announced plans to expand U.S. support for opposition groups inside Syria. Hillary Clinton said, "We need to start moving very vigorously in the Security Council for the Chapter 7 sanction resolutions, including travel, financial sanctions, and arms embargo, and pressure that will give us the regime will help compliance with Kofi Annan's 6-point plan." U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton made comments, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon accused Syrian President Bashar al-Assad of failing to honor a peace plan that went into effect a week ago. And he said, "Despite assurances from the government, there has been no meaningful progress on the ground. This is unacceptable. I call for Syrian authorities to recognize the full urgency of the situation and permit UN agencies and international relief organizations to organize a major humanitarian field operation to help those people in need." A bond hearing will be held yesterday morning, in Florida for George Zimmerman, who faces second-degree murder for charges in February 26 shooting death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Martin's parents were expected to attend the hearing and come face-to-face for him for the first time. Actually, this is kind of an old story, so I'll kind of skip through it, because actually he did show up and he did apologize to the family. The family didn't think it was sincere, but they did set a bail for him. The right-wing American Legislative Exchange Council, known as ALEC, continues to lose corporate membership amid widespread public scrutiny of controversial measures it has helped push through state legislature nationwide. Yum! Brands, the owner of fast food chains KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and become the latest company to withdraw from ALEC. ALEC has come under particular criticism for backing voter ID laws seen as discriminatory towards people of color, as well as stand-your-ground gun laws. There is a new development in the case of police killing 68-year-old Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., the former Marine who was killed in his own hometown, White Plains, New York, after he accidentally triggered his life alert pendant. Attorneys for Chamberlain's family have identified the White Plains police officer who shouted the racial slur at Chamberlain prior to the fatal shooting. Attorneys said the officer, Stephen Hart, is also named in an unrelated civil lawsuit alleging police brutality brought by a defendant who said he was slammed down to the ground during an arrest 15 months ago. Federal aviation regulators have acknowledged dozens of universities and law enforcement agencies have been given approval to use drones inside the United States. The list includes Department of Homeland Security, Customs, Border Protection, various branches of military, defense contractor Raytheon, drone manufacturer General Atomics, as well as numerous universities. Police departments have drone permits included in North Little Rock, Arkansas, Arlington, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Gadsden, Alabama, and Ogden, Utah. I don't know why not Utah. The FBI has seized a computer server at a New York facility shared by Internet organizations Rise Up Networks and May 1st People Link. The server was operated by European Counter Network and ran a program called Mixmaster, which routes emails through anonymous servers in a network. The server also ran a number of mailing lists and websites for political groups. Jimmy McClellan of May 1st said the server seizure is not only an attack against us, but an attack against all users on the internet who depend on anonymous communications. The server was seized as part of FBI investigation into the bomb threats against the University of Pittsburgh. Well, Big Brother. A new government-backed study has found that there is no evidence the death penalty acts as an effective deterrent in violent crimes. In a sweeping review of a previous study, National Research Council found researchers have failed to draw a link between capital punishment and the prevention of murders. The review found there is insufficient data on how potential murderers may perceive the risk of execution as a likely consequence. Vermont has become the third state to urge Congress to repeal the Supreme Court's controversial Citizens United ruling that affirmed personhood rights for corporations. On Thursday, the Vermont House followed the state Senate in backing anti-Citizen United resolution passed in more than 24 towns statewide last month. Hawaii and New Mexico have approved similar measures. A new study shows 1 in 4 working-age Americans were without health insurance at some point last year. According to the Commonwealth Fund, 26% of adults below the age of 65 lacked insurance during 2011, percentage equal to around 48 million people. 7 out of 10 who lost insurance reported spending at least a year without coverage because the price of obtaining new insurance was too unaffordable. European Union has agreed to share the private information of passengers flying from Europe to the United States with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. On Thursday, European Parliament approved the pact that will grant the U.S. access to passengers' date of birth, credit card information, seat number, dietary preference prior to departure. European lawmakers had waged a 5-year campaign to scale back the sharing of passenger data with U.S. authorities. Pro-democracy protests continued to flare in Bahrain ahead of the week's Formula One Grand Prix. On Thursday, Bahraini forces fired tear gas and stun grenades at hundreds of protesters at the capital of Manama. Bahraini human rights activist Nabil Rajib criticized the Formula One organization for hosting their race amid the ruling Sunni monarchy crackdown and said, "We are not against Formula One because we're against Formula One. We agree every part of our nation likes to enjoy the sport, but we are against avoiding dictators. Formula One in Bahrain has been taken as PR for the ruling elite, repressive dictators who are ruling the country." And boy, today I'm mouthful of marbles. Proponents of a Keystone XL pipeline that would crude oil in Alberta tar sands was supported by the Democrats. The White House has vowed to veto the bill should it reach President Obama. The Obama administration has sought to delay a decision on pipeline until after the 2012 election. Well, of course. So, might not get votes if it voted it in. Phone hacking scandal that has rocked Rupert Murdoch's media empire is expanding to the U.S. soil. Lawyer Mark Lewis has helped expose the massive scandal in Britain. He is partnering with U.S. lawyers Norman Siegel, who has been investigating possible hacking in 9/11 victim cell phones by the British tabloid News of the World. While Lewis and many complaints against News Corp in the United States stem from now-defunct tabloid, he also said there have been initial allegations against Fox News and other News Corp holdings. Lewis said that he's now representing 4 clients who believe their phones were hacked while visiting the United States. Mark Lewis said what they're alleging is that they either left messages or received messages, that their messages were therefore listened into, investigations were sourced. See, what you have understood is that one person is speaking to another person. The very fact that you even speaking to each other is potential news. You know that if you have somebody who is having an adulterous relationship with another person, the very fact that they're speaking to each other is, as a journalist, if you're writing about a relationship, is that you need primary source or a secondary source. It doesn't really matter what they say. Today marks the 2nd anniversary of BP's Deepwater Horizon oil rig explosion that killed 11 workers and nearly 5 million barrels of oil gushed into the water in the worst maritime oil spill in U.S. history. Impacts of the disaster still remains as scientists say shrimp, fish, crabs, and Gulf of Mexico have been deformed by chemicals released during the spill. One commercial fish person told Al Jazeera that half of the shrimp caught during the last white shrimp season were eyeless. Other reports find clawless and mutated crabs. A new report released this month found that toxic blend of crude oil and dispersant called Exit is not degrading as some of the hoped. Nearly 2 million gallons of Exit were used to disperse the oil, although it later revealed the chemical made it more difficult for microbes to naturally digest oil. Oil giant BP recently settled for victims of the spill, estimated $9.8 billion over medical claims and economic loss in one of the largest class action settlements in history. Not enough. Levon Helm died at age 71 after battle of cancer. He was the drummer and singer of Bob Dylan's backup band that later became the legendary musical group simply known as The Band. Levon Helm appeared in 2009 documentary Back to Woodstock, directed by Julie Cohen. In 1969, we had signed a record agreement with Capitol Records, he said. And narrator said, Levon Helm, drummer and singer in The Band, was a natural fit for the festival. He and his bandmates were already living in the Catskill Mountains north of New York City, in the little town of Woodstock, New York. Levon Helm said, a lot of people here play music anyway, so you go to a gas station, guy that's helping you fill your car, he may be the best banjo picker around. So people around here have always celebrated music. Sorry to see him go. That's it for World News today. We'd like to thank one of our underwriters to support your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the Rock and Roll Connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. Grass Valley Police Department on Thursday, 7:31 a.m. A caller from 800 block of East Main Street reported counterfeit bills. 11:01 a.m. a caller from 100 block of Gray Owl Court reported theft of a wallet from an unlocked vehicle. Notice the word unlocked. 11:44 a.m. a caller from 200 block of Horizon Circle reported scams. 11:50 a.m. a caller reported a bee swarm on West Main Street. At 11:52 a.m., a caller from 100 block of Northridge Drive reported a theft of money from unlocked vehicle. Lots of unlocked vehicles. I always leave my money and wallet in cars unlocked, don't you? 1:01 p.m., a man from Ridge Road reported being shot by a BB gun while riding his bike. 1:35 p.m., a caller from 800 block of Old Tunnel Road reported finding syringes. And 1:50 p.m., a caller from 300 block of South Auburn Street reported transients had been climbing a fence and leaving debris behind. Extra patrols were requested. 2:07 p.m., caller from 1100 block of Sutton Way reported a counterfeit $20 bill. And 3:40 p.m., a caller from 100 block of East Main Street reported a counterfeit $50 bill. And 4:14 p.m., a caller from 400 block of Bennett Street reported a squatter in a residence. 5:10 p.m., a caller from 100 block of Mill Street reported a man hit 3 people and was prevented from fighting. He was now on the ground. He was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. And 7:03 p.m., a caller from 100 block of Mill Street reported a woman shoplifting. She was arrested on an out-of-county warrant. And 8:19 p.m., a caller from 200 block of Sutton Way reported juveniles lighting firecrackers who had been admonished and left the scene. And 10:29 p.m., a caller from 100 block of Highlands Court reported a woman hopping a fence with a man and a pit bull chasing her. The woman said the man had a gun. They were located and a domestic violence report was taken. And Friday, 12:59 a.m., a caller from Butler Street reported people yelling and driving motorcycles up and down the street. They could not be located. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Thursday, 8:32 a.m. A man from 19,000 block of Last Mile Drive reported a theft and prowlers. At 9:27 a.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Pleasant Valley Road reported a possible burglary with equipment taken. At 10:11 a.m., a caller reported a battery. At 10:20 a.m., a caller from 13,000 block of Quaker Hill Crossroads reported a door had been kicked in to a residence. At 10:59 a.m., a caller from a business, 11,000 block of Pleasant Valley Road, reported a burglary. At 2:12 p.m., a caller from Gold Drive reported possible drug dealing. At 2:17 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Squirrel Creek Road reported a theft. 3:23 p.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Indian Springs Road reported the front door had been kicked in. At 6:40 p.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Charles Drive reported toxic fumes. Environmental health was advised. 6:52 p.m., a woman reported a 15-year-old boy was assaulted by 40 other juveniles and was being taken to the emergency room. He said he had been suspended from school for slapping a girl in the face and believed it was retaliation. He said 3 boys punched him and kicked him at Western Gateway Park. Assault is under investigation. 6:59 p.m., caller from 10,000 block Commercial Avenue reported someone tried to get in the back door in the last few weeks. 7:22 p.m., a man from 11,000 block Crescent Drive reported residential burglar with TV, iPad, camera, a Wii, and a PlayStation missing, and a dog was missing as well. 7:40 p.m., a woman from 21,000 block of Blue Horizon Court reported a physical fight with her granddaughter. Situation was mediated. And 7:40 p.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Nevada City Highway reported a physical fight between 2 women. A man was arrested on suspicion of spousal abuse. 7:54 p.m., a caller from Rough and Ready Highway reported 2 drunken boys in a cemetery refusing to leave. A juvenile was cited on suspicion of being drunk in public. 7:56 p.m., a caller from 23,000 block of Broadmoor Court reported a dog wedged under a propane tank. It unwedged itself. At 8:55 p.m., a man from 24,000 block of Camellia Way reported theft of a cell phone. And Friday, 1:45 a.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Little Valley Road reported an extremely drunken woman threatening to burn down her neighbor's trailer. She was arrested on suspicion of violating probation. 2:16 a.m., a woman from 14,000 block of Rough and Ready Highway reported a man took her purse and other belongings while she was asleep. And Nevada City Police Department on Thursday, 1:16 p.m., a woman from 100 block of Nevada Street reported a person just kicked in her door. 1 woman was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. A second woman was arrested on an outstanding warrant. 4:50 p.m., a caller from 400 block of Broad Street reported theft of a black Ford F-250. It had keys in the vehicle. Be on the lookout advisory was issued. Keys in the car, unlocked car, doors, whatever. 10:54, the 200 block of Broad Street reported people urinating on the street None. Nothing was found. And that's it for the Police Blotter today. We would like to thank one of our underwriters to support your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got them. You like international style lunches? They got them. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In local news headlines, closing park cutting services. Thanks, California. And members offer $50,000 for board to resign. In today's first local story, written by Alden Olmsted, letter to Governor Jerry Brown regarding the state planning to add to close everything in the parks. How is a state such as California, renowned worldwide for its beaches, mountains, redwoods, and climate, so unable to carry out the intentions of visionaries like John Muir, John Olmsted, and David Brower, etc.? Please explain, and don't use the cop-out of lack of funds. 70 parks intended to close bring our cities and state over $500 million alone. There's 208 more state parks to boot. People come from all over the world to our state to see and enjoy the parks. They buy airplane tickets, hotels, backpacks, tents, peanut butter, jelly, sandwiches, beach pails, rain pouches, energy drinks, thick wool socks, maps, souvenirs, grilled cheese sandwiches, tomatoes, soup, hats, sunblock, sunscreen, lip balm, layered underwear, cooking utensils, propane, so much more. They buy it in California. They get it. When they come here to see where we live and in our backyards, they understand. They start to believe that it's worth the trip across the plains, across the ocean, across the desert, however it is to come here. It's worth it. You know what? They're right. Unfortunately, this is where you come in. For you, the glass isn't just half empty, it's leaking and probably made of horrible material that will give us all cancer. The marking prowess alone is one of the square blocks of the great state is sufficient to sell more than mere 65,000 annual passes, raising state cutting services, closing parks. Wow. Frederick Law Olmsted used his $500 to preserve Yosemite. John Olmsted used his life savings and mine and my brother's to save the redwood and pygmy forests and jug handle, to save Bridgeport, and to build the Independent Trail. They found a way where there wasn't one. They persevered. That is about giving up, giving in, and rolling over without even trying. Jerry Brown and Ruth Coleman, this is why you've been elected, to come up with solutions. If you can't, move aside and let someone else do it. Both California and John Olmsted deserve better. This was written by Alden. Very good job. Sorry I couldn't read as fast as it was rolling. In a story written by Christopher Rosecker at a contentious gathering Tuesday night, a member of the Nevada County Digital Media Center, formerly known as Nevada County Television, NCTV, offered $50,000 donation to the organization if the leadership of its board of directors resigned and remaining board reinstated its former executive director. My concern is with this board is that the emphasis on fundraising really seems to be lacking, said Stan Mills, an author and media center producer who offered the donations during the public comment portion of the meeting in front of 36 attendees. Fundraising is our highest priority right now, said board president Susan Rogers, who was the target of few of the more vocal attendees' scorn at the meeting. Rogers was one of the 3 members singled out with the not yet delivered petition seeking their resignation. Rogers was accused at the meeting of micromanaging and harassing former executive director Paul Minicucci into retirement. You don't remove a surgeon in the middle of an operation, Mills said. Minicucci's departure amid the media center's transition from its facility at the old Armory building off Zion Street in Nevada City into production facilities at the Nevada City Tech Center, space subleased from Grass Valley USA LLC, known locally as Grass Valley Group. Mills, along with Penelope Curtis and Adele Taylor Curtis, crafted the petition calling for the resignation of Rogers, Allison Lehman, and Cheryl Rubin. He said the $50,000 offer applies to these same individuals. Lehman did not attend Tuesday's meeting. 2 of the board members, Stan Lathrop and Judy Nielsen, had already resigned before the petition was written, but followed following the Minicucci resignation. Because Mills made the offer during the public comment portion of the nearly 3-hour meeting, which continued well past its scheduled conclusion, board members did not respond to his conditions nor many of the other accusations and questions raised by members in attendance. This meeting is the first step, said board member Christine Kelly, who acted as a moderator between the sometimes unruly members in attendance and the board, usually the object of their discontent. It seems obviously that we'll have to have follow-up meetings to address the concerns, raised Kelly. To contact staff writer Christopher Rosecker, you can email crosecker@union.com or call him 477-4236. I won't add to that. That's today's local news. I'd like to thank Amy Goodman's, Reuters, Associated Press, and others from the Source Never News, and you for watching. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV Channel 11 in Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, Southern Link 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra. We're also streamed on the internet at NCTV's Digital Media Center website at NevadaCountyTV.org and GVTV.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television that plays 24/7 on the net, GrassValleyTelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, Blip.tv, and many other podcast sites, and have an RSS feed and video podcast on iTunes. Just search under video podcast for GVTV News. Content is controlled by the producers of this newscast. Me and Grass Valley Television is not necessarily the opinion of NCTV Digital Media Center. Grass Valley Television also videotapes local events around Nevada County, and if you have need of information, you can always email us, grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com, 362-8889 is the phone. This show produced by Grass Valley Television of Rural County's television network. We also have a surprise tomorrow. Our new co-anchor will be starting, so I hope you will welcome her, Sharina Canoe. We haven't set up a schedule yet, but expect to and have a lot more of her as we start expanding our news coverage for you. Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow.